Yeah, it seems appropriate that we have a bench here in the center.
That's true. I've sat on them in a long time.
Yeah. How you feeling today?
Feeling fine. I feel good. I've played 3 or 4 games already, and I'm not that tired, so it's feeling good.
Good. So how did you feel your game was today?
I think I was on today. I think I didn't miss too many. Ball was going pretty much where I was hitting it. I got a lot to learn about the game because I started to learn the game when I was 8, 9 years old. So my first experience with pickleball was just about 4 or 5 years ago when I was 8 or 9. And learning a sport at that age, it takes a little longer. But I'm catching on. I think I got the hang of the game and I'm starting to feel good.
What is your inspiration for playing pickleball?
My inspiration? I don't know if I have an inspiration. I enjoy the game. I enjoy being out here. I enjoy the people who are out here. I make a lot of friends. And, it's just a good experience. It's a great experience. Pickleball, unlike many of the other games, is very social because there are a lot of people playing it. And a lot of people on the courts. We have a good time together.
Well, okay, Judge. Well, thank you.
Thanks for doing this. Great project. I appreciate it. I was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1929, which was during the reign of Herbert Hoover. People don't realize he was a president, but he was the president when I was born, and I lived in Chicago from the date of my birth in 29 till 1943, when the family migrated to Los Angeles, and we came here to Hawaii. And for the last 20 years, I've been here in Hawaii. So that pretty well geographically my boundaries. I went to high school in Chicago and in Venice, California. I went to college at UCLA. I went to law school at USC. And I graduated USC Law School in 1953. Began my legal career at that point. Practiced law for a while and was appointed to the bench by the then Governor Pat Brown. And that was in 1963. And I was on the bench for about 25 years and retired in 1989.
So let's talk about you being appointed to the bench, and I know you were in the Superior Court. Is that like that's the highest level? And can you kind of just talk about that for a second?
At the court level in California, during the time I was appointed, there were 2 levels of trial courts, with the municipal court and the Superior Court. The Superior Court was a court of general jurisdiction, which means it did everything. But carved out from that was the smaller cases, like the $25,000 lawsuits, the misdemeanors, the drunk driving cases. They were handled by the municipal court. But that court was abandoned, and now everything is in the Superior Court. And the Superior Court, I say, handled everything, criminally, everything from death penalty, felony cases, all the way down, and civilly, every kind of case monetarily that existed would come and be tried in the Superior Court. And that's where I spent most of my time, in the Superior Court in Los Angeles County.
Now, county meeting, I read in here, Hollywood was part of that county, that jurisdiction?
Yes, the entire state was within the jurisdiction, but from the standpoint of the things I've actually tried in the court, the county of Los Angeles is pretty big, so there were courtrooms in various places like Santa Monica, Norwalk, Long Beach, various places where cases were tried, depending upon where the crime occurred or where the lawsuit occurred. Hollywood was one of them. Much of our material was done in Santa Monica. A lot of it was done downtown LA. But all of them, it seemed like all of the major cases involving the movie industry ended up would be somewhere, either in Van Nuys, where's a branch, or in Santa Monica. And things, I've tried a lot of Hollywood cases over the years.
Hollywood in itself, could you kind of share with us a couple of stories, maybe high profile? If you can't talk about it, I totally understand that.
No, I could. Oh, they're also I could talk about it. Many of the participants are not alive anymore. I think from a notoriety standpoint, probably the one that drew the most attention was a case involving the movie Deep Throat. Now, Deep Throat was, at its day, a great piece of pornographic documentary. It was a well-done movie in the sense that the actors were professional, the direction was professional, but it drew a big crowd, and the county of Los Angeles felt it was obscene and pornographic, and they filed a lawsuit. They arrested the exhibitor, his name was Miranda, and I tried that case. That case had to do with whether or not the movie Deep Throat was in fact pornographic, or did it have any kind of redeeming social value. And in order to understand it, you have to see the movie, because it's a hardcore piece of film. But I tried that case. It went almost 2 months to try it, which involved a lot of trips back and forth to the theater where it was being shown, which was the Pussycat Theater on Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood. And the defendants in the case, Miranda's lawyers, insisted that the jury see the case in the venue it was being shown, Pussycat Theater. So one interesting part of that, I agreed, I will take the jury back. So we took the jury back so they could see the film on the screen. They came back to the courtroom and they heard all this testimony from all the experts, some saying it was the best thing ever made, the others saying it's the worst thing ever made, etc., etc. And then they wanted to see the movie again. And I said, I really don't want to take these guys in another busload down to the Pussycat Theater.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to try to get a copy of the film to show here in the courtroom. I said that, but what I didn't know was that there was no 35 millimeter print of that movie available. And you couldn't show 35 millimeter print in the courtroom. We didn't have facilities for it. I needed a 16 millimeter print. And the only 16 millimeter prints out there were the bootlegged copies. So I called my friend in the industry and I said, I need a 16 millimeter print of Deep Throat. Can you get me one? He said, sure. He got me one. And I showed it to the jury. The next day in Variety magazine says, Judge has bootleg copy of Deep Throat. In other words, I committed the sin of all time showing a copy. Anyway, the interesting in that case, that jury hung. What I mean by that is it was a criminal case. You needed 12 unanimous jurors to go the same way. I think it was an 8-4. And so I had to start to try the case again, and I said, I'm not trying it again. Too many, too long. They finally settled it. Actually what happened was the movie lost its reputation. People didn't want to see it anymore. So no big long lines, and the sheriff's department said, okay, looks like it's a dead issue, forget it. So they Deep Throat away. But recently, they made, I think, the original film producer, I forgot his name, he does documentaries. He's doing a documentary about Deep Throat, which had started in New York and came to us, and part of the things that we did were in this documentary. I wish I could think of his name, you would know who it is. It was the singer, Michael Jackson, is what I'm thinking about. Michael Jackson was being sued and is also doing some suing, and they asked me to supervise all the depositions. So I spent a lot of time with Michael Jackson before he died.
In person?
In person.
Oh.
In person with Michael. He first was lodged in New York, and he rented the top floor of the Four Seasons Hotel, or one of the hotels, where his security was, and we did it there, and then we did it in a couple in his lawyer's offices. But I spent probably 2 or 3 weeks on a daily basis over the years with Michael Jackson, and I got to know him pretty well. And you know, I really liked the guy. It wasn't my job to dislike him or like him, but I did find him to be a very ongoing, matter of fact, young guy. And he was a great musician, and I can tell you stories where someone was suing him for plagiarism. They claimed that they had written one of his songs. And I remember his testimony, bar by bar of this song, note by note, showed the difference between his song and the other song, that you would never ever think about, but just hearing it, it all sounded the same. But it wasn't an E flat in his version. It was a straight E, that type of thing. And you could see and hear that after he played it and he explained it, how there was no plagiarism. That kind of thing was a good story. But the last story, I'll say, this is, some people think this is cute. I don't think it's that cute, but it is. First of all, I have to say that I had 2 or 3 run-ins with Charlie Manson before he died.
Whoa.
Run-ins in the sense that he was already convicted. Long before I was on the bench, he was in prison. But he kept making motions. Making motions to do this, to get a new lawyer, to get a this and that. And some of those motions came to me. And he would sit there and you'd talk to the guy and, you know, almost, what's going on with prison, Charlie, you know? I mean, it was funny. Never a situation where you felt threatened or intimidated. The guy was in prison.
This is you talking to him directly?
Talk to him. He was with his lawyer at the table, but what conversations we had were open. But when Charlie wanted, there was a new lawyer appointed, and he named the lawyer, John Doe. I don't want to mention his name. He's named me still. I understand. So I said, why not? And the district attorney said, John Doe doesn't know anything. John Doe doesn't know his own name. John Doe is totally irrelevant and irresponsible. They can't appoint him. And so I said, okay, I won't appoint him. I'll appoint Bill Smith instead. And Charlie went to the appellate court, and the appellate court told me, appoint the guy he wants. It's his lawyer. So that was one thing. That's my wrap up with Charlie Manson. And the last case I can tell you about, if they have any interest to anybody, had to do with O.J. Simpson.
I was hoping you would say that.
Again, O.J. was a football player when I was in college. I mean, well, not even in college, when I was following athletic sports. And I admired O.J. as a football star. He got involved in a murder case, got acquitted, and then he got sued in the Santa Monica court by the Goldman family for wrongful death of their son. And I got a call from O.J.'s lawyer saying, you know, Leonard, we know you pretty well, you know, you give us a fair shot. We'd like you to be essentially the judge on this civil case. if not the judge, at least do the little discovery workup so that no one abuses agent along the way. And I talked to the district attorney and said, the lawyer wants you to do this. Yeah, that's okay with us. Fine, you know you. All right, so I said, I told both sides, yeah, if you want me, have the court appoint me, do whatever they want me to do. And Bernice, my wife, says to me, you can't do it. I said, why can't I do it? I said, I just wrote a check to the Goldman family as a contribution to their defense fund. I said, you gave money to the Goldmans? I said, yeah. So I called Baker, the lawyer for OJ, and I called the DA and said, you know, thank you for all of your good feelings about me and how impartial I can be and all that. But I gotta tell you, I gotta disqualify myself because my wife contributed to Goldman's defense fund, and that you can't do. So I gotta back out. And they both said to me, we forget it. We don't care whether your wife gave money or not. We trust you. And I said, no. Would you imagine what the newspapers are going to say tomorrow?
Sure.
Why judge wife gives money, and this judge is supposed to give a fair. I said, can't do it. You guys shouldn't want it. And I bowed out. That was my last major case with respect to well-known celebrities. I had a lot of them. I had a lot of divorce cases with movie people. Those are the ones that I would highlight in this interview.
Hello, aloha.
Aloha, Good to see you here.
Good to see
Welcome
you.
to our home.
Great.
That's nice.
Lovely home. Would you like to kind of give us a little tour or tell us a little bit about the
My
property?
wife is good at touring.
We bought the house about 20 odd years ago, and we have an ohana, and we remodeled, and we just love living here. This is our happy place.
So did you have the ohana built second, or is it
No,
part
no,
of the
the
property?
ohana is the original house on the
okay.
property. The front of the back of the ohana, where these 2 bedrooms are, that was the original shack that Rockefeller built when they put in the Mauna Kea Hotel. When the Mauna Kea Hotel was put in, they had to put in employee housing. And lots on this side, on the Malka side, were going for $50 a lot. And on the Mackay side, they were $100 a lot. We're talking a lot of years ago. Anyway, when we bought the house, over the years, someone built the front house. It's very magical because the people who live here, who have lived there for many years, it's their happy place. It's calm. We have the ocean. We have the mountains behind us. We see the Mauna Kea. It's just living with nature. We wake up to the sound of birds in the morning.
So we have our own beachfront here.
Very nice.
We have access to all of these neighbors.
That's what happens.
We have no problem with getting. Philosophize very much. I can say this, that as I get older, I really enjoy the things I'm doing. I try to swim every day. I try to play pickleball 2 or 3 times a week anyway, and I enjoy that, and just enjoy life. I don't get into the heavy things. I'm into politics. I take positions. Well, not aggressively anymore. I just go with the flow. I'm happy here, but I don't have any philosophy to wheel out. All I can do is stay healthy, do your exercises. I do, or I try to do 100 push-ups every other day. A guy my age, that's an accomplishment. And 100 sit-ups on the odd days. And I said, if you do your exercises and you keep yourself in shape, you can do a lot of things with your body and fun, and you won't know what's. But essentially now I'm just enjoying myself and doing the best I can.
It's been a year since I started playing pickleball, and that's how I met this gentleman. I noticed at first how quiet and unassuming he was as he offered me some pointers. I knew there was a lot more to him, because it's been said that a shallow brook is noisy, while a wide, deep river is silent and moves with majesty. I knew him then as Leonard. Now I know him as Judge Wolf. An amazing man.